Welcome to the Real View podcast, where Ohio Realtors connect you to innovators and influencers, keeping you with the real view of real estate. Whether you're a broker, agent, first-time homebuyer, industry leader, or just happen to stumble upon our podcast today, you can expect to hear tips, tools, tricks, interesting information, and so much more from the experts in Ohio's real estate game. Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Real View podcast. I am your host, Allison Wiley. Joining me today, our special guest is Debbi DiMaggio. She is a seasoned independent contractor and top producing realtor since 1989. She is a business owner, marketing director, coach, four-time author, social media expert, master networker, dedicated connector, serial entrepreneur, producer, mentor, podcast host, shout out to our podcast hosts, and philanthropist. Her mission is simple: to empower and inspire others to achieve their goals. Debbi, welcome onto the show today.
Thank you so much, Allison. Excited to be here.
No, I'm so excited to be having you on. We are going to talk a lot about you, the work that you do, and these first-time home buyers and how we can help them. Because I think we've all seen the headlines, how hard it is right now for first-time home buyers, how we're just seeing that age go up for people becoming first-time home buyers. We're hearing about the challenges of that. And you're going to give us some tips on how realtors can help their clients through this process, and also what these first-time home buyers can equip themselves with before they go through this process. But before we get started in today's conversation, I would like to hear a little bit more about you. Tell me how you got started in real estate and what's led you to where you are today.
All right. Well, how many times have I told this story? So when I was growing up and then through college and after college, what do you want to do when you grow up? What do you want to do? What do you want to do? And I'm like, I don't know what I want to do. The only thing I don't want to do is real estate. My father was in real estate. He didn't sell residential like I do. He did flip homes. He did a lot of syndication, but he was always tied to the wall. He was tied to the phone, whether that was in his office or at our house. He was constantly tied to the phone. So he never knew what his schedule, what summer would look like, what anything would look like, as we know as realtors is the case. The difference is that we have so many tools. We can literally hashtag work from anywhere. So it makes it fun that we can take our job wherever we are. And let me back up. It's not a job, it's a lifestyle. It's who I am and what I do, and I do it every day. The key points were when I was 25, I was trying to figure out what it was I was going to do. I tried working for people and I didn't like having a boss. I wanted to be able to work longer. I wanted to be able to do something that meant something to me. I didn't want to be a 9-to-5er. I didn't want to, just do something that was after it was over at the end of the day. That was it. That wasn't my personality. I wanted to keep it, had to be part of me. So when I was 25, I had a black leather daytimer, and I said the qualities, the things that I wanted in a job were, I wanted to meet new people every day. I wanted to have something that had a beginning, a middle, and an end. I wanted to meet people from different cultures because I'm from a small town in Northern California near San Francisco called Piedmont. It's a very small town. I was raised there. We raised our kids there. Later, but I really loved meeting people from all over. And there was a few other things, but the crazy thing was, fast forward a couple of years, I got into rentals, and then I started doing sales, and everything on that list was true. When you rent a house or sell a house, you have a beginning, a middle, and an end. I need closure. I couldn't be in commercial real estate and wait a year or 2 or 3 before a deal went together, or other things like that. And then I was constantly meeting new people. I was started out in San Francisco. I was in LA. I was meeting people constantly. People were coming in from all over. I got to hear their story. And I love hearing people. I love podcasting so much. So that's kind of how it happened. I didn't know what I wanted to do. And I knew it wasn't real estate, but it all came back, and I wouldn't do anything different.
I love that. In fact, and it sounds like, it became such a great fit for you, and really had all those qualities. I mean, as you were reading off the list of what you were looking for, it's like, that makes sense as to how you ended up, in that space. Because it sounds like it's all of what you were looking for. You were able to find that in real estate.
Absolutely.
And you've also been super successful doing real estate coaching and mindset coaching. Talk to us a little bit about kind of making that transition, what that was like, how you decided to go down that path, and a little bit about your coaching and approach to that.
So one of the things years ago, someone wrote an article about me in Unique Homes magazine. We had a whole conversation, and then she wrote the article, and it was so well entitled. It's called Accidentally with Purpose. So everything I've kind of fallen into has been kind of by accident. The real estate, someone asked me, called my husband and said, I think Debbi would be really good in rentals. She should come work with me. I did. I loved it. It was totally by accident it happened. And then I started writing my books. My daughter went to college. I never wanted to write a book. It was never something I was going to do. And now I'm on my fifth book. But my daughter was going to college. I had a huge empty nest, hole in my heart, crying in fetal position. It was just traumatic for me. It's just the way, and a lot of people don't have that feeling, but I did. And so long and the short of it, Contained Beauty, Photographs, Reflections, and Swimming Pools was born. My cocktail book, coffee table book. It was something my friend said to me, a client said, you always talk about your kids. What do you want to do? It would be about real estate and my kids. And that was everything to me. And I said, well, I don't know. I mean, I guess I love to travel, and I obviously love real estate, and I'd love to have a coffee table book that was this was literally manifesting this. I had thought about it, but not really to do it. But I, as I'm sitting in my open houses, I'm like, it would be great to have my own coffee table book there. And when I'm staying in these luxury hotels, I would love to have like a picture book with some writing in it, but to see what's next, where do I want to go next? So long and the short of it, the way things happen, and this kind of goes into coaching. That's why I'm explaining it this way. I put it out there. And I was invited to go to a charity party. Charity work was something I also fell into by accident and loved it and continue to do it to this day. So I was invited to a charity party, and I thought, oh, it's just for our group of people. Everyone will be invited. I'm not special, just everyone will be there. Well, we got there a little late because our daughter had just flown home from college, and I wanted to see her before we went to the party. When I went to the party, I realized it wasn't everyone. It was actually a select few. And by the time we got there, it was a little thinned out. And when I walked into the door and looked to the right, I saw a publisher who was a friend who was in my group. It was her husband. And I was like, oh my God, I have got to talk to him. I can't not talk to him. I mean, a publisher is literally like right there at a private party. And I know his wife very, very well. So I said, oh, Debbi, you just got to go do it. So I went up to him and I said, hi, my name's Debbi DiMaggio. He said, oh, I know who you are. My wife loves you. And so it was a really ease in, but writing a book wasn't something I knew anything about. And I said, well, I have an idea about a book. Would you mind sitting down with me and giving me some advice? Well, that was the middle to end of December. I met him in January. I had it all drafted, what my idea was. And he said, this is the fastest book I've ever seen completed. And I go, what do you mean? I have to travel all over the world and get all these photographs. And he told me how to go about doing it. Anyway, it was amazing. So I created Contained Beauty, Photographs, Reflections, and Swimming Pools. It sits on every open house. I give it as gifts all the time. You can get it on Amazon, but I sign it, and I sign it believe. And I truly believe that people have to, and that's one of the things in my coaching I talk about is you have your goal. You have to believe it. You have to internalize it. You have to share with supportive people, and you have to activate. And that's the basis of my new book, Mindset in Motion, the Mindset in Motion method. So those are just, and then from one book, let me see, then The Art of Real Estate was born. And that was the same publisher said, you have got to write a real estate book. I said, oh my God, someday. Then that led to 52 Ways to Achieve Success in Real Estate. A publisher from Vermont reached out. And then during COVID, I wrote Beauty at Any Age because I want people to be able to, beauty is accessible at any age, and there are things we can do. And it's just really important for me to empower anyone, young or old, to empower their beauty and wellness and health. So next book up is Mindset in Motion. And that kind of goes with my coaching. I've never met anyone I couldn't help. If someone says they have a need, or I can either connect them to people, I can walk them through the process. I helped someone complete a book she had been working on for 20 years. I said, I'm going to help you and you're going to get this done. And I coach realtors all the time. And I think the issue with realtors is that new realtors will come in and they think, oh, you make it look so easier. How are you so successful? It's because I'm working 24/7. I never have my foot off the gas. I am constantly going. You have to constantly be out there. So I have a program called Foundation for Success, and it talks about 5 pillars. And, if they just start with the 5 pillars and get them, whether it's a newsletter, how do you go about writing a newsletter? There's so many different tools out there, but they're so overwhelmed because we have so much coming our way. So Foundation for Success is also a cool program that I have, but really it's holding them accountable as well. It's meeting with them once a week and then following up during the week. Are you on track? Are you doing it? And then meeting them that week so the assignment is completed. It's really up to the person, of course. And I try to pull back a little bit because I have so much information to give, but it's at their own pace. But I try to get them at least to, how much can you do this week? Can we just do this? Whatever it is for them. So I love helping people and watching them succeed. I've been doing this for real estate for over 35 years. So I love just giving back.
No, I think that's really special, and that's one of the things that is so cool about the real estate industry is that we have people like yourself that are so willing, that have been in the industry, they have all these experiences, they have this wealth of knowledge, and you're so willing to share it, and you're not gatekeeping that because real estate's like unique in that sense, right? It's we are competing with each other in a sort of way, but yet we're also working together on deals and to make things happen, and it's a very unique profession in that way. And I don't know that there's many other professions that operate in that way. And I've always really admired that about realtors, that there are so many of you who want to share, who want to see other realtors get better and grow their business. And you're not going to hold back anything. It's kind of just an open book. And it sounds like you've been able to create that. And that's something that you're really passionate about. And I can tell from you talking about it.
Yeah. I very much am. I was writing some notes. I thought I was meeting you on Saturday, but it was someone else. But I just jotted a few notes down and I just wanted to share them. The 3 C's of real estate: communication, creativity, and collaboration. And I just think communication is so important, whether you're working with a buyer or seller. The creativity is so fun because you can market, whether you're marketing a listing or you're marketing to connect with people. And then the collaboration is just number one in my book. Collaborating with other agents and other people and other businesses is fun, and it elevates everyone.
And it's so essential to the business and to yourself as a realtor too, having that collaboration, learning from each other. That's where the magic really happens, I think. Like when everyone's input is, together, when you're all throwing ideas out, when you're all working together on something, that's when something really beautiful is created, I think. And those 3 C's are perfect. I think you hit those perfectly, nail on the head. Tell me a little bit about your life chapter formula. I know you talked a little bit about mindset, the importance of that. Let's hear about your life chapter formula, how it helps your clients achieve their goals.
Well, everyone's at a different point in their life, right? So we work with first-time home buyers, and they are just starting out. Maybe they're buying their first home and they just got married and they're going to start raising a family. So that's a huge chapter, right, in someone's book. So they're young and they're new and they probably haven't bought a house before. And in our area, in the San Francisco East Bay and LA, prices are high. So you really have to plan ahead. And anytime someone wants to move, I always say, and so I'm in a BNI group, Business Networking International, and I always tell my colleagues, I say, I want to meet people now, whether they're looking to buy or sell in 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 4 year. I don't care. Most agents, which they will say, I only want the referral if they're going to buy, they're ready to buy. No, for me is I want to set people up for success. I want to know them. I want to get to know them. I want to understand their needs. Sure, if they want to fast forward, that's fine too. That's great. But I want to know them now so I can prepare them. So if you're a first-time home buyer, it's, let's get you with a mortgage person first. Let's understand. So you're going to buy in a year and not right away. Let's set up a savings plan. How are you going to do it? Understanding the process. A lot of people don't know because they've never done it. Why should they know? And never be embarrassed to ask a question. Just ask. And I always tell my clients, I'm going to repeat things to you because I've been doing this forever. I can do this in my sleep. So I want to make sure I'll say it, but you might not pertain because we haven't been in that situation before. So when they hear it again, they're like, oh, that's what you meant. So I do alert them that I am going to repeat myself because I want to make sure they don't miss anything, because people miss stuff. There's so much. They have their own jobs and their own life. And this is just one little segment, but this is what we focus on. So preparing them whenever they're ready to meet, whenever they're ready to sell, way prior to that is more important, because I want to get to know them and help them. So that's the first time home buyer. And then there's all the other steps. But then let's say I also work with people who are downsizing, who are older, and they're in their 80s, let's say 70s and 80s, and they're starting to contemplate downsizing. Oh my God, all of the things they have in their house. How are they going to do that? We have people who do estate sales, and we just have a whole team of people to help them. And then also just understanding, tomorrow I'm going to go sit with someone who's in a retirement community, and she has her house. So we're going to talk about, what is it you want? She met with an agent earlier, and the agent said, oh, you should sell, you shouldn't rent, but she might want to rent. So I'm here to hear what her needs are. Do you need the money? If you don't need the money, then, why don't we rent it for a year until you're comfortable? Older people need time. They need the luxury of time and understanding, and they don't want to be forced. And it's horrible if someone tries to strong arm someone for a sale. So I'm going to sit there with her and talk and understand her needs, and then we'll go on her timeline. So it's really about listening. It's about education, communicating, and then just working through it with them. And it doesn't matter if you're a first-time home buyer or second or third. If they're moving from a different area into our area, California is different than Ohio. I don't know how you work there, and you probably don't know how we work here, and all the different transfer taxes and just all the different things that would come on a closing statement. You just have to go through it slowly with them and help them to understand. When we're working on a deal, we're constantly in contact with the client. Throughout the day, you are just on. So being available is number one. Responding. People don't want to wait. They want to know the answer right away.
That's so true. I think we're in this world where everything's instant, right? Like, you have a question, you're going to Google or Chat GPT to get your question answered, right? Information so easily accessible that if you are not kind of operating in that same way, I think that could, kind of be a downside for some people, and they could see it as they're not as responsive. So I think that's so true, that responsiveness, that informative, first time home buyers, like you said, have no idea what they're doing. And that's the opportunity that realtors get, is to be able to guide them, to be able to get them to know where they even should start. And I think that was great advice that you said, before we are even talking about buying a home, we need to have pre-conversations about what to do before that. Talk to me a little bit about what should the timeline be? If you're a first time home buyer, or you're working with clients who are first time home buyers, how early do you recommend starting that process? What are kind of the first things we should do? You mentioned, getting savings put together. Walk us through kind of the timeline that you found that works really well.
Yeah. So regarding referrals, so there's an agent in my BNI group, and I always would say, please refer me long before, here to help. It's not about the money. I want to build a relationship. So it was really great. Angel talked to her Pilates instructor, and the Pilates instructor, yeah, we're looking to buy in the next couple of years. I don't want to bother Debbi, and Angel's, no, give her a call. She can help you. So they're reluctant, right? They don't want to bother you. They're not ready. Maybe they think you'll be pushed. They'll be pushed. So she said, no, give her a call. She is so sweet. She'll totally want to answer your questions, whatever. So she calls me on, I think we speak on a Friday. And she said, yeah, this is what we're looking for in probably 2 or 3 years. Okay, great. Well, on Sunday afternoon, she called and said, I popped into a house and I really like it, and I want to make an offer.
Oh my gosh.
It was not even 2 days, let alone 2 years.
Wow.
So, because the market's not crazy right now with the economy, it's a really good house with a lot of not potential. It's a great house. And it was also right near her work. So she wasn't going to have to move if we got it, which we ended up getting it in 5 offers. We were the winning offer, but she was going to have to move out further so she can get more for her money. Well, because of the market and everything, it worked out that she got it. So that was on a Sunday. I said, okay, connected her right with Zach, my lender. You got to get pre-approved. So you got to get all your documents, you've got to get your tax returns and all that stuff, which is not easy. It's a pain dealing with paperwork. So you got to, fill out those forms. So she got pre-approved. I immediately called the agent to say we were interested, when were offers. And this is an important part, and people forget this part. We are colleagues. We are working together. I'm trying to get the house for my buyer. So I want to stand out in that listing agent's mind. Hi, Crystal, this is Debbi DiMaggio, and we really love the house. I texted, emailed, called her. What is the seller looking for? Whatever it is, just building a relationship and a rapport. So clients getting pre-approved, I'm building this relationship with this agent. A lot of agents I know, but sometimes I don't know them. And so I need to get to know them so they know I am responsive to them and they're not going to wait for me. So Thursday were offers. We wrote an offer. There were 4 or 5 offers. We got a counter. We ended up accepting it and we went into contract. So that rarely happens, but it did. But so these first-time home buyers had owned a townhome, but there were a lot of questions about it. One of the things we do for all of our clients is we buy our buyers a home warranty policy for the year. Then we explain to them, keep that home warranty policy, renew it every year. And we go through the benefits of that. And at the same time, I was going through her house with my painter to get their house ready for the market upcoming. But really just, and I am, so the real estate, 52 ways to achieve success in real estate. The realtor is the captain of the ship. It starts with us. So the whole time I'm making sure the lender, the title company, we're all in knowing what's going on. One time a lender tried to say, oh, we're recording tomorrow. And we're like, you can't, this is a lender for the buyer. And I had the listing. I go, you can't really do that. My seller needs to know when they need to get out. You can't just say we're closing tomorrow if we weren't supposed to close for a week. So the realtor is the captain of the ship, and we have to make sure it's moving. It's moving along. Everyone's informed. Lenders are informed, buyers, sellers, everyone's informed, because if you're not, that missing link, that could run the train right off the track. So it's really about that collaboration and communication, constant communication. And we were in contact with those new they were new to buy a big house. And it's they've only bought one before. So, and every situation's different. So really keeping in contact with them, and then explaining the title company and explaining the closing costs and explaining the taxes and how that all works. So just again, and answering their questions. And you don't want them to go to ChatGPT and get an answer that it might be pertaining to New York or Ohio, but it doesn't really pertain to California, or it doesn't pertain to our little area. We have a very high transfer tax here. Many places don't, but all the city ordinances differ. So you really need to make sure they're getting the answer from you and not ChatGPT. Some stuff good, of course. I love it.
Oh yeah, when I'm like, I wonder, like, we were messing around with it the other day. There's definitely benefits for it, but maybe not when you're trying to buy a home for thousands or millions of dollars. Probably not the best route to go.
The worst thing is when someone reads a book prior and they're like, "Oh, I read the Homebuyers book or whatever," and I'm like, "Oh my God!" Like,
oh no, oh no.
it's like,
No, that's what makes, realtors so special, is that, we do offer that expertise. You can't, be there to guide our clients through the biggest purchase that they're probably ever going to make. And that's, I think really cool,
absolutely.
and something that you want to make sure you have people like you, Debbi, and people like our Ohio realtors, by your
Yeah,
side through it all. So really, really good advice. So it sounds like you have so much going on. You're buying and selling real estate, you're writing books, you're coaching people, you're a mother. Like, how do you keep it all going? And like, how do you do it
oh my God.
all? And what's next for you? What can we expect? Because I have a feeling it's going to be something really awesome, because you're doing so many great things.
Oh my gosh. So right now I told you about that closure I need to have, and I'm working on Mindset in Motion, my Mindset in Motion book. And I'm like, I want it to be done. I've been already working on it for a couple months. I just want it to be done. I just want that closure. So that is really weighing on my mind. I really need to get that done. Just today, I find stuff on Instagram, and all of a sudden, or, you get an email about something. So yesterday, or 2 days ago, I had an email I looked at the email, I get them, but I finally looked at it on Founder, and I was like, oh, I'll take the seminar about doing an e-commerce shop. And all of a sudden my mind just went spinning out of control. There was so much information they gave. And I was like, oh my God, Debbi, stop. Just don't do it. I just can't say no to things. So right now I'm on Fair, and I think my next thing is going to be a shop, a home design lifestyle wellness shop online. I just think
Love
that's the
that.
next thing. And after that, perhaps a TED Talk. But I love to have pretty things and nice things and clean and just accessories and things. And so for the home, and so people are coming into our homes all the time and to our listings, and just, that's part of who I am. And so I think I have a good aesthetic. And I do have an Amazon shop with lighting, because every house we list, we're always changing the lighting. So people will ask, and I said, I finally created a shop so people can go there and see the things that I choose.
Interior design sounds like too. I mean, why not?
No, no. Well, I mean, I do get houses ready for market nicely, but I do not want to go into be an interior designer. I am very simple in the redo, and it's for sale, not for someone to live.
I love that. Best bit of advice you want to give to our realtors listening right now, knowing what the market's like, knowing you just explained it's not, maybe it's a little lull, maybe it's a little slower. Best advice to our realtors who are listening.
I think as in anything, first of all, I always say, write it out, write out your goals, write out your thoughts, write it out. When you write it out, it's there for you to see. And during the market, when are these lulls, get out and do even more open houses. On my podcast, I have spoken to some of the more successful realtors who pivoted from other careers into real estate. And they were doing this. One guy was doing like 5 open houses a week. He would do one Saturday morning, then he'd do one Saturday afternoon, one Sunday, Sunday afternoon. He'd do them during the week. And what I noticed new agents say, well, why would why, if there's not a lot of traffic, or why, it's not the typical day, I do it on a Sunday. Because there's sellers coming through all the time. You never know. People love to look at houses. These home design shows are so popular. People just want to go look, and you never know who you're going to meet. It's the same thing if you're at a random networking. Okay, you're there to network. Well, be sitting in a home, and you can work, you can do whatever have your Wi-Fi and your phone and do your work, but you never know who's going to come in and who you're going to meet. So that is my biggest piece of advice for any agent, new or seasoned. Just be front and center. Be somewhere where people can see you, touch you, feel you.
I love that. So important. And like you said, now's a great time to do it. If we're not super busy in our business, what a great time to get out there, be busy, create your own work for yourselves, get out there, network with people. I love that. Debbi, tell all of our listeners where they can learn more about you.
Oh my God, I'm everywhere. Right now, my new favorite app is Substack. I'm obsessed. I love to write. I love to blog, and I have so many websites. DebbiDiMaggio.com, DebbiDiMaggio, no E in Debbi. Substack, I've been writing some blogs, but call me 510-414-6777. I not only sell in Northern and Southern California, but I have agents around the globe. I referred someone to Marbella, Spain, a couple weeks ago. And I was just talking to someone in New York, in upstate New York, that I'm collaborating with. I have a listing in Italy a few listings in Italy with an agent in Milan. So I would love to refer you as well. And I will refer you to good, like-minded agents who care.
I love that. Yeah, get some Ohio connects in there. Work with some Ohio people. We'll be calling you.
Send me your favorites. Connect me with your favorites. That's on you.
Of course. Well, Debbi, I want to thank you again so much for joining me. This was wonderful. Thanks for all that you do for our industry, for helping clients buy and sell their homes and make their dreams come true, and for just being there for the realtors. Like when times are tough, when markets are tough, I think it's more important now, than ever to lean on each other and be learning and growing from each other. So I appreciate all you do for realtors and for our industry.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you having me on your show.
And to all of our listeners, thank you guys so much for tuning in. We'll be back with you next week. Talk to you then.
Thank you for listening to The Real View. That wraps up today's episode. You can keep up with the latest on the podcast at ohiorealtors.org/therealview and on Apple or Google Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen. Have questions, comments, or suggestions? We want to hear from you. Email us at podcast@ohiorealtors.org. We'll see you next time.